And we are live, guys. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. How's it, everybody? This is the fan Q&A session. We are live on Facebook and we are live on YouTube. It's an opportunity for you guys to ask me questions, but there are some rules around this, of course. You don't have any restrictions with regards to what you want to ask me. That you can ask me anything that you want. It doesn't have to be cricket related, of course. But first and foremost, I start with the Instagram questions that were sent in to us on Instagram first and foremost, and then we move into the live chat. So I would really appreciate it if you guys could talk about my answers to the questions on Instagram first in the live chat before you start asking me questions, because then I can get to everybody's question a lot easier if you wait a little bit through the show for me to answer the other stuff first before we get to the live chat over here on Facebook as well. To the Facebook guys, come over to YouTube, subscribe. To the ones that haven't subscribed yet that are on this channel currently, please hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell for all future videos, please. Very important that you do all of that. Very important. That's how we get into recommended feeds, etc. Smash that like button and comment and share, please. That's also very important. If there anything in this particular video that I maybe answered that you agree with or disagree with, share it with your friends and family and let's see what they think too. We can start discussions around cricket, which is what we want to do amongst the fan base. Also, become a patron today. Link is on the screen as well as in the description. If you want to help us promote South African cricket and you want to be a part of that journey of us trying to improve and better and grow and help South African cricket grow, you can be a part of that by becoming a patron with Cricket Fanatics Magazine. So you can help us help everyone else that we are trying to help within the industry as well. Then you know that you have to download the latest issue of Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free, straight to your inbox every single month. The link is on the screen as well as in the description. And also go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all of your updates. So without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's Q&A, fan Q&A session. Excited to answer your questions. Let's see what you guys A very good evening and welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your daily show, your fan Q&A session. I'm your host, Khalid Maiden, and this is the show where you guys get to ask us various questions. Now, let me just tell you some of the rules about this particular show. So what happens over here is I first answer the questions that were sent through on Instagram, and then I head over to the live chat. So if you guys can maybe just hold off on your questions in the live chat for me until a little bit later in the show, until I'm done with all the questions. You will get a cue from me when I'm done, and then get your questions in. I would like you guys to also maybe debate and or discuss what my answers are to the various fans that have sent things in on Instagram, etc. First and foremost, before we get into, of course, your into your questions in the live chat, which are also very, very important to me. So don't think that I'm ignoring you guys. I will be getting to your things very soon as well. Let me just get some stats up here because I think I'm going to need it also to explain myself with regards to the next one of the questions on Instagram. But let's start with how do I pronounce this? Okay, GCINASOSIBO. Do you think our bowling lineup can sustain us at England for the test, considering injuries? Is the first question that I got. Sorry that I can't pronounce your handle, um, but yeah, I spelled it out. Okay, so what do I think about this? Um, this is one of my concerns going into this test series. The fitness, particularly around Lungi Ngidi and Andif Nokia, who haven't necessarily played a lot of tests recently due to injuries and etc. So I don't think they may be in their rhythm with regards to test cricket at the moment. So I do have some concerns about their match rhythm, and that's why I fell into the bracket of the fans that believe that we maybe must play an extra bowling all rounder like a Marco Jansen in the team ahead of an extra batter maybe for for the first test, just to see what is on offer from Andrik Nokia and Lungigidi and where they stand and where they are currently within their rhythm and match rhythm leading into this particular test matches. And so that's my opinion on that particular matter, because I do have concerns over the fitness of them and the match rhythm. Even the new guys, the debutants, the guys that are coming in, um, or the newer guys that have been in the fringes of the team, even them, they haven't really played much cricket. We know that it was hectically white ball stuff happening. So the likes of Glenton Steerman, etc., they haven't necessarily played much cricket either. So no IPL, etc. So match rhythm is off there too. So I do have a little bit of concern, because that means that KG um, and Dwan Olivier are the two bowlers within that setup that do have rhythm. If we go with someone like Dwan Olivier over Lungingidi, for example, then I wouldn't. Then I would probably play an extra batter, because I think that also there is a little bit of concern over Dwan Olivier too. Yes, but I think his knowledge about England, etc. I think that does help a little bit. It does help him have an understanding of what has been going on within the setup in England in the county scene, um, and that maybe will give him an extra. I wouldn't say maybe a head start or maybe an edge over maybe someone like Lungi and Andrich currently, just purely on the experience that he has in England. Um, I mean, the last test that he played obviously was against Bangladesh, but that was all the way back in April, and that's the last cricket match he played too. So there's concerns over his fitness actually as well. If I'm looking at the stats right now, so actually there are concerns over all of our bowling attack at the moment. I feel, because of match rhythm specifically, but at least Andrich and Lungi have played some shorter format games, whereas Duan hasn't played anything at all. So there is a concern over that. Lutus Pamla would be the same thing. He hasn't played much cricket, so there is a little bit of a concern. It's a very good question, because I hope that we don't sustain any injuries. Because if we do, we're going to maintain the six bowling options continuously, and not to have that. And I'm sorry, that six. That's five bowling options instead of having maybe a 7-4 split, which a lot of people have been asking for. So it's interesting to see what we're going to do, and what mentality we're going to go with, because it's very easy for us to just fall into the trap of being safe rather than also being brave as well. Um, so yeah, it's tricky. It's all very 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 tricky. Um, what is this now? Is this what I'm looking for? I'm looking for something, guys. Bear with me, because I don't know where I'm going to find, and I'm not sure. I can't remember if we did it on our channel. So I want to look for the stats of the 4-day competitions, of the 4-day series, the 4-day franchise series, and I'm not really finding it over here on Click Info. I don't think they have the, or maybe I'm just looking wrong or something. Because I thought SuperSport would have it, but I don't see those stats over here. The only tables or stats that they have is actually the log table, unfortunately, which is pretty crappy. Because they were the only ones that were covering it, the series. Actually, they were the ones that were covering the series for the whole entire 4-day series. They covered it, but yet they haven't necessarily provided stats with regards to who are the overall run scorers and all of those type of things, which I like to actually have a look at right now. And I can't seem to find it, because one of the questions that were asked in the comment section over here on Instagram was as well: should Yaneman have gotten a test score up versus England? This is from Justin FX Shansai, and I don't think so personally. Um, I think that it's difficult to say, because he never really had a very good season this season, and it's the first season that he's actually moved his. I wouldn't say he didn't have a good season. It's more that he moved his position to number 4 to try and obviously opt for that number 4 slot, Now, we never had the best of seasons this season. Um, from with regards to the number of games played, he played. Actually, I'm lying. Yanaman Malan averaged 64 this season and scored 384 runs with a century and two half centuries. So I'm lying. He had a really good season in 4-day cricket. But so did so many other batters above him. Ryan Rickleton, of course. Josh Richards has done excellently, averaging 55 in 7 games. Wesley Marshall did really well, although he didn't average a lot. He scored a hell of a lot of half centuries this season. So it's crazy. He averages 38, but he scored 5 half centuries in 7 games, which is crazy that he still averages 38. It's like, it's almost, it's crazy. That's all I can say. Um, then we've got Mokoena that did pretty well. And then in second division, I'm not going to count. So I'm not going to talk about them. Um, but Mokoena did pretty well this season as well. Got an average of 48, 300, three off centuries and a century. I mean, if Wesley Marshall just converted that 97 into a century, we would have been talking about a whole different story. I mean, his average would have been way higher, of course. And if he got a couple of not outs too, that would have skyrocketed his average. I mean, Yanaman's record is only 3 milestones within 5 matches, but that 200 not out skyrocketed his average way above, everybody else. So I mean, it does make a massive difference when you get a massive not out and a massive 200 like that. I mean, and Guepe also did pretty well. 3 half centuries, an average of 36. Matthew Bretsky, 200s, no half centuries, average 39 this season. Neil Brandt did pretty well with an average of 42. Marcus Ackerman did really well with an average of 52. So there are quite a few guys that have really done well this season. But if you look at that number 4 slot, where Yanaman is probably going to be batting, I do believe that at least he should have gotten maybe a opportunity in the other formats. I think more than in the Test arena. I think with it being his first season at number 4 for Poland, I think it does make it difficult for them to have chosen him, seeing that we have given the likes of Ryan Rickleton opportunities now, Calvert opportunities now, which are younger guys in the side that can bat in that 4, 5, 6 position. Whereas Yanaman, I know he opened the batting for the Cobras for many years, but I know that he's changed his position to number 4 for this particular season. So looking at the stats over here, I mean, a lot of people would even talk about someone like Tony Dezorzi as someone as well. He averaged 49 this season, 103 half centuries. You see, like when you look at these actual stats, it seems like he's done better than Yanaman Malan. If you break it down, because he's had more half centuries to his name than Yanaman did, one more actually, in fact. So I think you need to also look at that, and not only the averages alone, because I think these averages are a little bit underwhelming when you look at it. And in some other areas, it's really high. And in other areas it's not, but you can see certain guys have had similar seasons. That's why I say you need to not just look at the stats. It needs to go a lot deeper than that. You need to look at a lot of how many of those knocks came in a winning cause, how many of those knocks came on flat wickets. All of those type of things need to be looked at. So I don't think Yanaman's quite there for the test call up quite yet. I think there's other guys that are in front of him, and that number 4 slot is going to be a very competitive too. Maybe they could have been bold and picked him above someone like Aiden, but they've obviously backed Aiden as the next person involved with regards to this. Okay, let's move on from that particular question and go on to the main question of today, which is who will be the backups for every position in the Proteas team. This came from Siraj 11 Campbell, who will be probably in the comment sections tonight. He comments on every single video. I do see them. I just don't always have a response immediately, but I do see your comments and I do read them. I try to answer kind of some of the stuff on the show without directly talking to you, of course. But yeah, I hope you pick that up. So this is going to be a very difficult one for me, because if I look at the backups, I'm thinking that you're going to be talking about each individual squad that is available currently for England. If that's the base that we're going to work with, then I'll probably have to talk from that perspective. But I think a better way to do this is to look at each positions and say who's the next opener in line. And or for example, if I'm talking about openers, then I'll go to the next one and the next one and the next one. Um, and say it from that angle because I think that's the only way we can do it. So I'll show you the squad and let's start with the test arena. So Dean Alga and Sadal Irve currently are. Um, can I do it this way? Is it possible for me to do it this way? No, it's not. Okay. So Dean Alga and Sadal Irve are currently our opening partnerships, right? That's our opening pair for in the test arena. So next in line, I don't see anybody next in line within this current squad as the next in line opener. Now, when you look at the stats of the 4-day competition, you will know that, of course, Peter Malan was top of the standings with an average of 120 this year, 200s, 250s, 601 runs in 5 matches, and sits very pretty on the top of the log. Now, that does cause a lot of issues within our fan base and arguments within our fan base because a lot of people believe that Sadal Irve shouldn't be there and Peter Manan should be there in his place. And we could argue maybe for both sides when it comes to this. Because when it comes to age, it's similar ages we're talking about over here between the two. But if we really want to look to the future and really want to pick towards the future, um, I think that a guy like Tony De Zorzi is a very good option for the top of the order if they're going to select him consistently within that spot. Now they have moved him around based on what is necessary for the Western Province Blitz last season because there were a hell of a lot of injuries. Also, Zubair Hamza being in and out of the side. There were a lot of injuries within the side, so it made it very difficult for them to select Tony at the top of the order consistently. Now I do think that that's where he should bat. Even though I know that he could bat 4 as well, but I think anywhere from 1 to 4, you could maybe say I think I like Tony as a next in line option because he's been doing it for a couple of seasons now at the top level. I also think Yanaman Malan should be in that mix with regards to being someone that is next in line. And I do think that it's time that Wesley Marshall gets some game time as well and some appreciation for his performances and consistency that he's performed recently. If we're looking for another player, maybe down the order, I think we are quite covered there, but I think someone like Ngwepe is a good option maybe to throw in the mix as maybe someone that can cover that middle order type of vibe, down from 5, 6, maybe around about there. Especially with Timba not available, Quinny gone, etc. That is a nice backup to have. But I always prefer the younger options. So if I looked at last season, for me personally, I'm a big fan of Subs Makanya and what he can offer. So I do think that he deserves some sort of credit for the season that he's had. Made the move and did pretty well at the Titans. So I think he's also another option as a backup in that middle order. So I've gone with someone like Yanaman and Tony to cover that 1 to 4. I've gone with someone like Ngwepe and someone like I've gone with someone like Wesley Marshall to cover that middle order for 4 and 5. I've gone with someone like Ngwepe to cover maybe 5, 6, and maybe even Sibs Makanya to maybe cover 5, 6. I think that would be a nice position for them. And the next in line, number 3, after KD, I mean, I'm still a firm believer that Zubair Hamza should, when he comes back, should be the backup. But another player that you can maybe throw into the mix at that number 3 position would have been someone like David Bedingham, who is not available. But I think that Wesley Marshall could also cover 3, 4, 5, 6. But if I'm looking at a specific number three, I also think maybe Marcus Ackerman could be a good number three option. And I think he's been putting in decent performances. Maybe not all of them going to victories for his side, but I think he's been putting in pretty decent performances for the Dolphins as skipper too. So he's another guy that maybe you can also talk about. The reason I haven't necessarily mentioned someone like Grant Rolofson is because for a large portion of the season he's been injured. So we're gonna kind of have to see him another season to give him that opportunity to showcase his talent. But I've named quite a few names that I think are the next in line batters. When it comes to the bowlers, it gets a little bit more tricky because I feel like a lot of them have been given opportunities now recently, particularly with regards to backups to spinners. We know that Simon Harmer is probably backup to Keshav Maharaj within the test arena. Then we've got the likes of Carl Simmons that has done really well, but I feel like he needs another season at the top of the order, at the top of the division, really playing hard and trying to maintain what he's got as a backup spinner, perhaps. George Linder should be in that mix. If they're not available, George Linder should be next. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. We don't always get what we want. So George Linder hasn't necessarily been always been selected on a regular basis. When you're looking for raw pace, when it comes to the spinners, of course, I'm sorry, I'm still on the spinners. um, there aren't many that have really done well other than those that I've mentioned right now. So, Simmons. I'm not looking at Division 2 players, of course. I'm only looking at Division 1. Sean van Berg is also available over there. But is it like worthwhile to give someone opportunity and now at his age as a backup to two guys that are also getting more experienced? I don't think so, maybe. Um, and when it comes to young spinners, there haven't necessarily been many that have really put up their hand and said, you know what, in 4-day cricket, this is my arena. I'm going to be taking it. I know Siabonga Mahima has done okay in these 4 matches that he's played. Um, I know that as well, that if you're looking at more spinners, someone like Tsepo Ndwandwa has done really well as a left orthodox spinner. 27 years old, did decently this season for the Warriors. So there are some spinners like that as backup, maybe that I'm looking at. I'll probably be looking at. But when it comes to the seam bowlers, you've got the likes of. I know that people don't like this option, but Siboto bowled really well in the Lions side. Has never gotten a call up. Perhaps maybe an SA. If we're looking at experienced guys, maybe he's an option. Mti Nabe has been very underrated. Maybe it's because of his speed that he bowls. Maybe he doesn't hit that 145 to 150 mark. But I think he's also a very good option with the ball. All rounders, Delano Potgieter, 21 wickets this season. I think he's a good option. Corbin Bosch is another option when it comes to that. Tian van Vuren is showing his class, but I think he needs another season. We've got Clinton Steerman in the mix. So I've mentioned some of the names over there in 4-day cricket that I think are really, really deserve an opportunity at the top of the order. I mean, right around the block. Sorry, um, that I think are guys that are probably true possibilities for the future as backups. Tiernus the Brain is another option. I feel that has been kind of overlooked. Doing really well in the SAA setup. Someone that I do think deserves maybe one or two more options as a backup, as next in line maybe to get selection. So there are quite a few guys that I've mentioned right now. I'm sorry if I missed some names. It happens. I can't remember everybody off the top of my head right now for you, but I've mentioned some names that I think should be in the running as next in line. If it was up to me, though, I would like put a cap on the next in line guys. Someone mentioning Reinhard van Tonde. Reinhard van Tonde, yes, but I think he does need one more season to maybe show more consistency because it wasn't his best off seasons last season in the 4-day arena. We know that he can do a lot better with regards to that. Okay, then we've got the CSA Provincial 1-Day Challenge. Who are the next in line for that? Now, the 1-Day team is an interesting team to talk about. Remember that I still have the same. I need to fix this, guys. I still got the same teacher with the 2 double Antilles in. Top of the order, backup is Yanaman Malan. Quentin de Kock and Yanaman Malan is my openers in 1-Day cricket. And back up to that, would be a floater in Aiden. I think Aiden can bat anywhere in the top four. So currently within the squad. But if I'm going to look beyond this particular squad of players who I think are currently in line to be starters, we obviously have to go who's next after this squad. Who are the ones sitting behind this? These guys that have been selected. So let me have a look at what has been happening in the One Day Cup. So for me, the number one choice for the from anywhere from 1 to 6. No, yeah, literally, I think this guy can bat anywhere, and he also can offer options for the ball. But let's be realistic. I think number 3 is a very nice position for him, and I think that he can offer some things with the ball as well. I think a backup is Vian Libber. I know he's open for the Warriors as well. But I think that anywhere from 1 to 3 is a nice position for Vian Libber. And I think he's done excellently well. His strike rate was over 103 this season. He scored at an average of 73 and he had 300s to his name in 6 games. I think he's done very, very well this season and he really does deserve an opportunity. And I think he should be back up because he also offers options with the ball. Very good. He can also add some spin bowlers, add some spin option for you at the top of that order. I think Sis Makanya for that middle overs again. I think he should also get an opportunity. I think he's been very balanced across the formats this season, particularly the longer formats this season. And I do think he's someone that we should look at as maybe a backup option, especially if he can work a lot more on his bowling again and make it as an all rounder once again. Neil Brandt has performed quite well. He averaged 84 this season. He's had 102 50s. He's another person maybe in the middle order that we're talking about as backup. But I want to look at someone at that in that number 6 role. I think is where we're really lacking. And there aren't many people that I feel that can really bat in that number 6 role currently. There's nobody really striking very high that I've seen in the top 10 at least of run scorers with regards to the One Day Cup. Now, there might be someone lurking down, lower down, that could maybe position themselves, but I think Tristan Stubbs was the only one that really stood out to me as the guy for me. The guy that should be the next number 6 for the national side. Number 5 or number 6, I feel. And when it comes to others as well, I mean, maybe perhaps people will throw Deva Brevis into the mix, but I think Deva does need maybe a season for the Titans where he's scoring consistent runs before we really get into the whole discussion about whether he should be in the Proteas side or not immediately. It is quite a tricky one because, I mean, Janneman from the previous seasons, Grant Rulofson's previous seasons, not this last season, but the likes of Ryan, Grant Rulofson as well, Dominic Hendricks, but Dominic Hendricks' opening batter is another slower batter that we're not necessarily looking for at the moment. And Ryan Rickelton as well. Yes, you can throw him into the mix. But none of them have really batted and in the top 10 with regard. None of them have featured in the top 10 really when it comes to run scorers. So for me, Makanya, Dennis de Bruin, Vian Libber, Neil Brandt, they kind of cover me from 1 to 5, in my opinion. It would have been also maybe someone would have looked at Zubair Hamza as well because he had an excellent season the previous season, not last season, but the previous season he had a very good season. You could maybe throw Rickelton into the mix, the Sozi into the mix as well. I can see Vishal saying over here. So that's an interesting one. When it comes to bowlers, the bowlers that stood out to me at this year's One Day Cup, particularly, is obviously Sasanda Magala did excellently well. And I do think that if he can get his fitness in order, he should be a backup. Moreki did well, but I think with regards to pace, that there may be an option. There may be a little bit of an issue over there. But I think the next in line should be Bjorn Fortuin. Personally, there was an interesting stat that was sent to me. about Bjorn Fortuin. Um, the best economy rates in T20 history, minimum 1,500 balls in a major playing nations. Samuel Badri was 6.02. Sunal Narain was on top with 602, and Samuel Badri was on 602. Razan Hassan was 615. Pipul Sharma is 6.23. Um, Sanayake is 6.25. Sanayake. Vittori is 36.35. Rashid Khan is 6.36. And Bjorn Fortuin, funnily enough, in 93 games, 109 wickets taken, 6.36. He's sitting there in the top list, in the top 10 list of economy strike rates. And if you look at his ability, he's been so amazing, I think. I think he's been so amazing um, at doing his role and playing pivotal roles within the team in crunch situations, taking them over the line. He did it this season with the bat as well, scoring at 60 in the final to help them win. So he's really showing his capabilities. He's been excellent this season. I mean, his economy rate this season in the One Day Cup was 3.91, guys. That's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. As a spinner in these particular on these particular wickets, in fact, he's the only spinner in the top 10 this season as a in the One Day Cup. It just shows his ability. Um, when we're talking about a spinner. Now, another person as an all-rounder, perhaps, I would say there's Michael Proteas that needs to get a look at. And for Risco Adams, it's about time with Corbin Bosch. You need to start looking at those guys, try to infiltrate them within the team. There's space there, there's quality there, there's good batting prowess there. Delano Potgieter, another one maybe you can throw into the mix as well as an option. But I think those guys, Corbin Bosch, Farisco Adams needs to get an opportunity at some time. Yes, Lawrence Bailey saying it in the chat there. He needs to get some opportunities. I mean, he's been the Iceman for how long now? He's almost melting. It's time for them to really now start to get him opportunity. To give him opportunity. Jero Kutsia is currently in the squad, so I haven't added him into the mix because he's currently in the ODI squad. They're seeing him as a backup maybe there. So that's why I haven't spoken about him, but he's the next in line. Let's move on to T20s now, guys. Whew, this is the difficult one, guys. This is going to be the difficult one for me. Because that if you're talking about T20 right now, you can't look past the fact that it's a World Cup, unfortunately. So the players that we pick can't necessarily all be pipe dreams. Some of them are going to have to be guys that can actually be backups for this World Cup right now. Who are guys that can come in, show their ability immediately, and be a part of that T20 squad. Now we know the T20 squad for England is as follows. There is no T20 squad for England, is there? No, there is. Wait, there is. Is there? Here we go. T20 squad for England. Sorry, guys. Here's the squad for England. So the next in lines have to be guys that are literally guys that could come in and do a job for us in the World Cup. Now, at the top of the order for me, it's plain and simple. Who should be backup? We should have been backup for a very, very long time, and he still hasn't been. He's still not backup. And that is my man, Dix's man, Yanaman Malan. He should be, I feel, definitely a backup for this particular tournament, for the World Cup. But someone that I think has been really overlooked is Vian Libbe, and I still don't understand why. One of the top performers in the CSA T20 Challenge this season. Yeah, he can offer something with the ball as well. But Janaman van Lan is definitely number one on the list as a batter for the opening position. Then for the number 3 position, you can look at someone like Vian Libbe, I think, and you can also look at someone like Deval Brevis, perhaps. But I still stick to it. I still think that he needs some time. He needs some time to bat at domestic cricket. Perhaps not, seeing that he's going to be playing so many tournaments. I think maybe he could be a backup. Actually, with the other tournaments he's playing currently, they could actually fast track him as a backup, a wild card. Even though I say Yanaman Malan should be the next guy in line, he never really had a very good season in T20 Challenge this season. He played 9 matches, scored 202 runs. He averaged 22, and his strike rate was 124. No 50s, no 100s. So he really struggled in the T20 Challenge this season. And it's not like it was a small sample size. He played the maximum amount of games, guys. So Peter Malan actually did phenomenally better than his brother. He scored 550s, an average of 46, but his strike rate is 118. So that is counterintuitive of what we are trying to see in the future. We're trying to move towards these guys that can actually strike the ball. So those two, for me, with regards to batting, Vian Lubbe and Jan Malan should be the next in line, in my opinion. When we're looking at guys for the World Cup as backup in the batting department, I think at least that's 1 to 4. Then if we look at 5 and 6, we need to look at guys that can strike the bloody ball. Now we already got Stubbs in the setup, which I'm very happy about. Jacques Snyman is probably the next when you're looking at the strike rate, but I don't. He's an opening bat for me. Not someone that can bat at the bottom of the order. They could perhaps try him there, and I think he'd probably come off, but not for me in that specific understanding. But the next guy you could probably say is Donovan Ferreira, someone that could probably come in, and Nguepe. Two players that can probably come in immediately in that 6 role and then probably do exceptionally well. And I think those are maybe some guys that I can probably say in that finishing role that we can probably add into the mix. Especially with Donovan getting his first professional contract as well after he gave his interview talking to us about like what his situation is and all of those things. I think Van Buren right now, I think maybe one more season for him. I don't think you put him straight into that World Cup squad as a backup, maybe. Especially if you have the likes of Dierwald and you have the likes of, if you like to have the likes of Dierwald and you have the likes of, could say Aiden Markram is in the team already as well. So Donovan can bowl as well, yes, Lorenzo. Van Buren for me, maybe one more season. When you're looking at that. Let's move on to the next situation. Let's look at the bowlers and the all-rounders. From an all-rounding batting perspective, like I said already, I'm going to have to move to obviously number 7 and number 8 situation. There hasn't been a lot of all-rounders that necessarily have performed with a bat this season in the T20 Challenge. But you have to look at the likes of Fariska Adams, who has continuously put his name up there with a bat. He hasn't had necessarily the best season this year for Boland, but he puts his name in there consistently. So Sander Magala is probably also a bowling all-rounder that you can maybe look at for the World Cup as a backup. If they need someone ready to fly in, they could possibly fly Magala in with the ball. If I look at the all-rounders, the number 8 position, that are probably ready, that are also coming off form, And then Dolana Potgieter, I think, is another person that you can also look at. But for me, I think Jason Smith also is another all-rounder that we can look at as backup. But are they necessarily ready? Mutasami, maybe as well, if we have a quality spinners, if you're looking at the spinners as well, thank you. But for me, also, a backup spinner should be Bjorn Fortuin and George Linder for the World Cup, in my opinion. When you're looking at the T20 arena. Bowlers, out and out bowlers. Let me have a look. Let me have a think. In T20 cricket, who is not in the current squad, in the England squad as backup, I'd probably have to go with someone like, I think, it's a massive shout. Lazard Williams for me has to be backup, but is he in the full-on T20 squad? Let me just check that quickly. I'm not sure if Lazard is. No, he's not. Shit. I forgot that about that completely. Lazard Williams on 100% number 1 on my list. Sorry, guys. I thought he was in the squad. Lazard, definitely number 1 on that backup list for me. The guy has everything that you want. Attitude, aggression, consistency, pace, a Yorker, everything that you need from the guys there. I think he'll be a nice option. A very left field option could possibly be someone like a Huddersfield Yoon, perhaps, who has because I'm looking at the World Cup thinking experience, played in many competitions around the world, probably has a calm head on him. But someone like Michael Pretorius, you could maybe look at as a bowling all rounder. I don't know. You could say that, but again, I'm put Fariska Adams in the mix. He's been a calm man. I think he does deserve an opportunity at some point to showcase that talent of his um, in that arena. I know Junaid Dawood, you could probably say, but it's one good season for him at the top level. So I'd like to see him maybe put in another circuit, put in another round of performances. But those are the guys that I think, from my perspective, are the guys that I would look at. Thank you so much for the question. Um, of course, it was a brilliant question, Suraj. It took me a hell of a lot of time to get through all of it, but I think I got to it. Um, I think I got through what I needed to get through from regards to the guys that I think are next in line. Um, and Ashanta Langa, I'm not sure. I know he's doing well over there in the UK, but I think that's where he wants to stay. I don't think South Africa is maybe in his radar currently. I don't know. Let's see. So, guys, let's get into your questions in the live chat. We start. I'll go right to the top, but let's get in your Ikram Anwari again asking another Temba Bavuma question, saying, in your opinion, what will Temba Bavuma's legacy be once his time in the Proteas comes to an end? I'm hoping a World Cup win. Khalid, why is Vian not given another chance? I've already spoken about this. I believe that he should be getting an opportunity. Definitely believe so. And you're saying he's far better than Zondo and Nandile doesn't help the cause because he doesn't bat in the same positions as them. He's not the same type of player as them. You can't compare apples with pears here, and that's what you're currently doing. Zondo, he doesn't bat in the same positions, I feel, as Vian. Vian's a top three batter. I think Zondo's more of a bottom order batter, middle order 5-6. 4-5, but more 5, I feel. Adile Peklaquayo, personally, he's more of a bowling all round in my eyes, a number 8. But he hasn't necessarily come to the party always with the bat, but he's done well domestically with the bat. So I wouldn't compare him to Vian Lubber. I think the person that keeps Vian Lubber out of this team actually is Aiden Markram, to be honest, in the white ball arena. I think that's who's currently keeping him up, because I think that's the type of role I see Vian Lubber playing in. An aggressive batter, attacking batter that can bowl and add some overs too. So I think that would be the one that's probably keeping him out of the top of the order. Are you in contact with Zubair Hamza? How is he coping with being... I've tried to contact him. He hasn't been answering my calls. Should have been saying this on a live stream. I've tried to check up on him. I haven't heard a response. So I'll try again and see if I can get a response from him. Let's go on this. I'm hoping you guys are asking me some questions at the bottom. Will we see Riley in the ODI squad soon? I don't know. I'm happy with Riley just sticking to T20s personally for South Africa. I'm happy with the way the ODI squad is forming a nice nucleus over there and building some great players going forward. So for me personally, I'm okay with Riley not being in the ODI squad. I like him in the T20 squad because it's a necessity and we need him. But I don't want Riley to be maybe to keep out someone like Yanaman, Tony, all of these youngsters, Teva Previs, all of them out of spots. I would rather want to see some of these youngsters, Rand Rickelton, all of them get opportunities rather than seeing Riley to so take someone else's spot in the side. To give another guy an opportunity, I would rather prefer that. What happened to Malcolm Murray was so impressive in the MSL. Yeah, you see, Malcolm Murray's major problem, I feel, is consistency. And finding a place where he can show that consistency is tough. I think he moves around in the order because of that, to try and showcase what his talent is. So I think he's had a little bit of a struggle with consistency. And perhaps I think also some issues with injuries as well. So it's a combination of things. And also he hasn't necessarily been setting the stage alight with his batting performances recently. And it's also been, I don't know what is going on with regards to his selection and his regular selections when it comes to his selection in teams as well. So, I mean, he's playing for Border currently. He hasn't been necessarily playing for the Warriors. I mean, so it's kind of really crappy what's happened to him. Out of favor very, very quickly. So it's very sad to see that, because he was a power hitter, massive power hitter that could possibly, but he's currently playing for Border, if I remember correctly. Might be the future replacement for Quinny. is questioning about Mulder. Huh? Sorry, I don't know. I missed your question probably. Do you think GF or Bjorn would be at least in the T20 squad? I personally think so. I hope they are. One of them at least. I don't know if they're going to take a spinner backup though. It might be weird for them to do so in Australia. Um, but they are the next in line, in my opinion, in that squad because I think we do need them. Unpopular question: do you think selection of Zondo is more to do with CSA feeling they owe him after what happened in India? I don't think necessarily in India. I think they've been consistent though with regards to giving people with experience that have toiled away and that have topped the standings of all time that are still playing. They've given them opportunities. So I think that's what they're thinking of with Zondo. Of course, they're also looking at probably the numbers with regards to the transformation target numbers as well, to an extent. We can't ignore that they're obviously going to look at that. But I do think that they are giving him rewarding experience, which they have been doing recently quite a bit. They've been rewarding people that have been toiling away and they never got opportunities. Rashi got that opportunity. There is one option. I was voting at that time. I was voting for someone younger, fresher, to come in instead of Rashi, but they gave Rashi the opportunity. They're doing the same now with Sarel Evia. They did the same with Peter Malan. They gave an older guy an opportunity, even though I was hoping that they maybe give another youngster an opportunity. So they're doing it with Wayne Cornell now, with Simon Harmer. They're doing it with Riley DeSalle, giving experience opportunities, regardless of of anything else. Okay, we can't put Riley and Kayo on in the same bracket. Riley's been smashing it, so he's basically played himself into the team. But I do believe that they're probably looking at experience and longevity within the domestic setup. I think that's the reason. Because I would have gone, yes, Lawrence, I would have gone with Tony Dezorzi if they were looking for numbers. But not only for numbers, Tony Dezorzi has been excellent this last season. I think the pressure that he was under, he performed very, very well. Why Marco is not the T to the squad, that was wrong. Yeah, I don't understand that either, to be honest. I don't understand why he wasn't. Baffles me a bit. Um, yeah, I don't have an answer for you because suddenly now General Coetzee is in the mix, so they're going to give you General Coetzee an opportunity. I would like to see what he's capable of. He can at least get bowl quickly. I hope he's working on his control though. I should actually catch up with him. I haven't had him on the channel in a very, very, very long time. I should actually catch up with him. I don't know where Kyle Abbott is. He's playing for Poland, I think. I don't know what's going on with Kyle Abbott, if he's performing or not performing. When will we play the ODI West? I don't know, guys. We are forever being like hanging around there at the bottom there of this qualifiers. I don't know when we're going to be playing the qualifiers, to be honest, because it looks like we're going to end up having to play qualifiers, to be honest. Do you think they should play both Harmer and Maharaj in London? Venues considering the quality they possess and their record in English conditions, not bad. With the bat either, it's got to do with conditions, guys. If it's a green top, then I don't know. That's weird, actually. I was exactly. No, that is very weird. Like he's in the other squads, but he's not in the T20 squad. I don't know if they want to maybe give him a rest. I don't know, guys. To be honest, I don't know what the reason is. But guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. My laptop's about to die, so I can't take any more questions. I really wish I could. Load shedding's been stuffing me. I'm so sorry. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash that like button, please, and comment and share and subscribe and do all of those things. Also, get involved with Cricket Fanatics Magazine monthly. The link is in the description, as well as the Patreon account. The link is in the description. You can also give me a little present by giving me maybe something in the PayPal account. The link is in the description. But yeah, thanks a lot, everybody. And I'll see you again on Sunday with another podcast show. I almost said tomorrow, Sunday with another podcast show. Take care, everybody, and enjoy the Wimbledon final. It's going to be epic. Oh, it's going to be epic. Enjoy the rugby. Enjoy the weekend. I'm going to watch some Craven Week tomorrow. It's Eid. So many things happening. See you guys very, very soon. Take care, everybody. I don't think we'll have a show on Sunday, to be honest. It's Eid. So I'm actually lying to you guys. Oops. I'll try my best to get around to it, but I'll be at the family's place. I'm not sure if I'll be able to do it, but I'll let you guys know. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Otherwise, you'll see me on Monday. Take care, everybody. Peace. Enjoy your weekend. Stay strong. I hope you guys wish you guys all the prosperity and the strength and the health and a good weekend, guys. Peace.